Hello, my friends. Perlo Wisdom here. And I'm from Rico and Perlo's House of Exotic Heimies Picks Frolic, which you can get most nights if there's games now at 10:30 Eastern Time. We go over a whole bunch of betting stuff that we do. And you get to watch handicappers out why they get their bets. All our professional, semi-professional to professional handicappers and do very well. So you might want to check that out. But today I am going to be looking at John Tortorella and his big media snub that he did a couple days ago after Vegas beat the Anaheim Ducks in 6 games, or was it 5 games? I can't remember. I bet it, but they won. Anyways, after the game, Tortorella did not go to his media responsibility that he is supposed to do. Apparently, the legal contract that with the media members that coaches have to be available after games. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it. He didn't go. And apparently Vegas had this problem before. The Vegas have had this problem before. I'm not sure when that was. They didn't make that clear. I do remember something to do with them not doing it, and they ponied it up to the hotel curfew or airport curfew or something of that nature. Maybe that was it, and they got warned, but they were warned previously to this for that. So why did John Tortorella not do his media? He didn't open the dressing room either. They kept the dressing room locked. I guess he allowed 2 players or told 2 players to go out and talk. Somebody did a podium visit as well, but he himself did not. And Elliot Friedman, a pretty solid insider, had something to say about this, and I wanted to show what that was. Okay. And I wanted to explain why I thought it was okay. I think it might have been a brilliant move for him to do what he did, for Torts to do what he did. So look at first hit freeze. I think it was a bit of a temper tantrum. They were mad about the McNabb suspension. Now, McNabb had got suspended the previous game for an interference call where he slammed who was it? Oh, yeah, it was not Pouliot. I can't remember his name. Tell me, you can tell me in the comment section. Why is that? No, I'm not remembering that. Anyways, the thing was to the McNabb suspension. They were really upset about it. The NHL punished Tortorella and the Golden Knights for the infraction. They were charged a 2nd-round pick, which is quite high. But he says that thought it was the McNabb suspension. And I'm just going to look quickly. Well, operated from Philadelphia. He was an important member of the Anaheim Ducks as well. And I mean, as far as my take on the actual suspension, I thought it was a little bit over the top. I know that the player was nowhere near the puck and he didn't let up, but it was somewhere near. It was definitely a judgment call. I would. It's Ryan Poehling. That's who it was. He caught Ryan, and Ryan Poehling got injured too. So and he got a one game suspension for them. They weren't happy about it. Okay, so well, this is interesting. Like usual, I got people in the chat here, and I'll bring up some of the things that they're saying. Regardless of what you think about the hit, they obviously were unhappy with it. And here's my take on the brilliance of Tortorella. Tortorella is my favorite coach of all time. I will say that here. I'm trying not to be biased with this, and I don't think I am being biased. I'm not saying he's the best coach of all time. I'm saying he's my favorite coach of all time. What he did here, I believe, with the McNabb situation, you got to remember, Tortorella was just hired 8 regular season games before the playoffs started from Cassidy. And Cassidy had apparently gotten there were players, Jonathan Davis, who is on our show at Rico and Perlo's House of Exotic Picks at 10:30 quite often. Most of the time, actually. He's a reporter for the LA Kings. He also is he's an insider. And he definitely knows the Vegas Golden Knights. He knows that division really well and talks to people all the time. He apparently got a text from one of the players, and so did Elliot Friedman, actually. They both kind of reiterated the same thing. And I mentioned it in another video that I did, that there was a player, at least one player, who said he didn't even want to go to the rink anymore. And this has been something that has been said about Cassidy quite some time. I hear things about, he just has a short shelf life. I think as the game progresses and players get more and more confident in their selves to be able to speak up, guys like Cassidy are going to be tuned out a lot sooner than 2 years down the road. Apparently he is, and this is also going with Jonathan Davis on this, he said that he is just an asshole to his players. He's mean, literally mean, talking down to them, never stops yelling. I mean, the energy in that situation is not good. And eventually, I think after the last loss in the playoffs, apparently there was some things said to players in meetings afterwards that they were very evocable about in their exit meetings and basically didn't want them back. And McCrimmon, the general manager, backed his coach and brought him back anyways. And if you watched the Vegas Golden Knights play last year, they looked like a team that was fighting something. And that was probably maybe what it was. I'm not saying it's fact, but I think there's a good possibility that is exactly what they were fighting. And you get fired 8 games before the playoffs start and cite that the message wasn't getting through. It was probably tuned out long before it was. And Cassidy's a brilliant man. His systems and his X's and O's and all that kind of stuff will go down as been talked about as one of the best minds in hockey. But if it's not getting through because you're being an asshole, why does it matter? Anyways, they fired him. They bring Tortorella in 8 games before the season started. So what's the position that Tortorella is in here now? He doesn't know the team. He doesn't know the players very well. He might know a couple from previous coaching stints. I'm not aware of that, but for the most part, he wouldn't know. He didn't know them, and they didn't know him. So that is a really difficult spot and a difficult challenge for a coach. He immediately came in and said he wasn't going to be changing anything systematically. Didn't feel like he had a right to. He was just going to let him flow, let him play, and all that kind of stuff like that. Jack Eichel did an interview after one of the games asking about Tortorella, and one of the things he said Tortorella has been awesome. It's been great having him here. It's nice to be able to just go out and play again. Those were his exact words. Well, okay, it kind of speaks to something that might have been going on there earlier. So Tortorella basically just said, go out and play, and we'll adjust things as they go if I see it or whatever the case may be. But the fact of the matter is, in this situation, you may have previous respect because you've won a cup and you've been in the league a long time, but you haven't really established a bond with the players. So let's fast forward to this. Elliot Friedman, as it just showed, says that he thinks it's very likely that they were having a temper tantrum over the McNabb suspension. If this is the case, and I think it likely is, this is a great way for a new coach to back a player and respect by his team, by his other players on the team, by his team. He says, you know what? Screw the league for suspending McNabb. We're not going out there to talk to them. I don't care what they tell us to do. I care about you guys, and I want to. Yeah, I care about you guys, and I think it was the league is out to get us is another thing that coaches like to do. A lot of big leagues that coaches, everybody is out to get you, believes in you. They love to do that, coaches. And I imagine Tortorella's that. It works. It works. How many times have I heard players afterwards saying, nobody believed in us, but we did it? And people are like, what do you mean nobody believed in you? It's because the coach convinced them that nobody believed in them. And I think Tortorella is somewhat doing this. Us against the world. We got the league coming up against us. Everybody's against us. We're going to overcome. And in doing this, he's creating a bond with his players. And in this case, he's defending one of their longtime leaders and one of their best defensemen in the with the suspension, and he's willing to take a hit because of it. The league actually going out and saying we're going to fine $1,000 and take a second round pick away. He can go in and say, I don't care what they do. I'm glad we did it. I believe in you guys, and I believe in McNabb, and I believe it was wrong, and I stand behind you guys, and I don't care what they say. And immediately you are getting respect from a bunch of players that you didn't really know up until 8 games before the regular season. You're getting a backing. Now Tortorella can start putting, and I think he's already kind of, you could see the Tortorella style starting to happen, like the shift from the Cassidy possession style that Cassidy has. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that possession style, but you're seeing a shift from that to a more long pass. Cassidy believes his system involves passes and then out. Everybody backing each other up. It's very effective. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you need forwards that are going to be able to be there and do it, know what they got to do. But and Vegas had that, so it's an effective system. But Tortorella is more of a long pass speed guy. He's more of the puck moves faster than your feet type of guy, and he likes a lot of shooting, and he likes adjustment in the game. He doesn't mind a possession style if it's working, but if it's not, you better be able to shoot and grind it out in front of the net and all of those sort of things like that. And I think you start to see these things leak into Vegas's game. They were shooting more than they were with Cassidy. They weren't passing as much. There was more of that type of game sort of leaking in. But now that he's did this, he can get the trust of his players. And I think that's the big word here. I don't know if he thought that I'm going to do this to get trust, or if it's just an instinctual thing or a combination of both. But what I believe will end up doing, or has ended up doing, is getting trust from his players. Because if you're willing to back a player that you believe is wrongfully suspended, and probably the players as well, in that situation, and you're willing to take the personal hit for it, you can then go and say, you back each other up too. Play for each other. Sacrifice to win. And he's doing it. He's showing it and doing it himself. So regardless of what you think about him skipping the media, and so I'll go further than this. All right. I want to talk to some, yeah, my media friends out there. I'm sure you're watching, right? You got to be one of the two people that are watching. But I have media friends out there, and I don't want to shit on them because I know one thing that was out there is there was people going, screw the media, blah 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 blah. No, I'm not saying that at all. Definitely was very, some of them I like, sometimes it's used not in a very good way, but I love good media guys, and there's great media guys out there like Jimmy Murphy. I love Jimmy Murphy. Richardson, the guy that comes on my Puckin' Deep thing all the time. He's fantastic. There's David Staples from Edmonton. I mean, I could go on and on. There's lots of great media people. They work hard. They travel a lot. Don't get paid huge. I get it. Okay. There was many that were very upset that he didn't come out and speak because it was disrespectful to them, who probably were there from morning until night and then had to write something and then they got to travel afterwards. And I can get it in the moment at the time, but okay. What Tortorella did gave media people much more to talk about than what would have happened if he would have showed up to that media. Okay. Because in the playoffs, especially, and JD said this on the show, it's that after that post game media thing with coaches is useless. It gives you nothing in the playoffs. Nobody wants to tell you anything. Nobody's going to answer you about who's injured or how injured or when they're back or anything like that. Coaches are not wanting to give up information at all. It's basically a bore fest. And then the media, the writers have to make something interesting to say from very little information they got from the coach. If Tortorella did come out, he probably would have said a few things like very short and just left, and they would have had nothing. So as it turns out, and not only that, for those that were really pooping on Tortorella for doing this, like there was a couple of media guys that were really vocal. I think Campbell was one of them. Very vocal about his disrespect to media doing this. You should be counting your lucky stars that Tortorella is a coach in the league right now, praying to God that Vegas hires him again, which I think they will after this, because he gives you gold, man. Tortorella doesn't quite often speaks right from the cuff, and he says things that are interesting. He may not agree with it, or it may sound crunchy, or he may get on a media guy, or whatever he may say. It's noteworthy. It's article worthy. There's a lot of great coaches I love as well, who, like for instance, I think Knobloch in Edmonton is actually a very good coach. I hope he gets rehired again. But my gosh, listen to that guy speak after a game. How the heck are you going to find anything to write about with him, man? He's dry as hell. He gives you stock answers. And most of them are Hines in Minnesota. Most of them, that's what the way they are. Nothing against them doesn't make them a great coach, and it's not their job to entertain you after that. That's not what they are. It's nice, but most coaches give you nothing. So a guy like Tortorella, I mean, he's done it. He said some awesome stuff afterwards. Shocking, sometimes you could call it, or whatever. He's giving you something to write about. So give the guy a bone here, man. Getting all high and almighty for him doing not the event. I mean, if I was a writer at that time, the first thing that would pop in my head is, oh, I got something to write about today. But it's so he was spoken about like he's disrespecting the media. And another thing they brought up is that as soon as he's not coaching anymore, he'll be in the media. He won't be running away from the media or anything like that. And neither will the media be running away from him, because he is great in front of a camera. And the media knows that he brings people out to watch the television or listen to the article or what have you. He actually will do that. So the media is not going to throw Tortorella away because of this. And Tortorella ain't throwing the media away after this. Apparently enjoys it. It's his choice, though. He could say no. And so the other thing, the second round pick that was done, that's to me is an overreaction. Just wanting to stress how much their dissatisfaction is, because they do have a contract with the media. He is obligated to do that. He did break the rules of the contract. There's no there. And if they would have got wind that the reason why he wasn't doing it was because mad at the McNabb suspension, then they're going to be really pissed, because now you're disrespecting their safety department and all kind of stuff like that. So he gets a second and $100,000. Almost assuredly, that is not going to fly in appeal. I mean, if they have lawyers, I mean, they're going to compare reasonable punishment. I mean, you can go, people brought up a lot of things back in the past that teams got like picks taken away for, and they were far more severe than not going to a media event. I'm pretty sure that'll be knocked down or even taken away in appeal. The $100,000 for Tortorella, let's put it this way. If the team loves Tortorella as a coach, all they got to do is throw it in a bonus on his next contract. Thanks a lot. Move on. But honestly, I think for what he did from a coaching perspective, it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He's in a tough spot with a new team. He's never coached before. He hasn't built a relationship with them to build trust. Relationship and trust are the same thing. And he goes out and builds trust. He backs a player and says, I'm willing to take the hit, whatever it is, because I'm backing this player. And the team probably loves it. They love McNabb. If they love McNabb and they love and Tortorella is backing him, they're probably going to have more love for Tortorella too. So I thought it was a great move. And the other thing, the next thing that I heard a lot on Twitter was that the league is now going to give Vegas more penalties because they're mad at him or whatever the case may be because of Tortorella and something like that or whatever. And, I don't know how much is the NHL involved with the referee saying, that's not a conspiracy. I can't see any proof of that. Oh, Mark, I'll answer some of the things here. So, I haven't seen any proof of that, but we'll see. But even if they did do something like that, Tortorella could spin it like, see, they're all out against us again. They're all the league's out against us, and everybody's against us, and they can use that energy to bring more drive to his team and have them fight for each other and fight in the game and all that kind of stuff like that. So be careful, NHL, in what you do. You might create more of a monster and more of a winning attitude in that team than you think. I wouldn't be I'd be putting this under the rug and leaving it quiet from here on in. And to tell you the honest truth, I think the league more did it just because, we got it rather than I could be wrong. Losing today with no games, this is just what I needed. Nice. So losing it when I love talking hockey and I come on here anytime. So thanks for coming in, Mark. His style of this is Cal from Saul. his style of coaching has a shelf life with players. I'm not so sure about that. I think his style of coaching has a shelf life with the management and ownership of the team he's on. Um, Take a little time. YouTube players that talk about players talking about Tortorella. I know Spitnick, those guys said they did a little thing on it. You can find it on YouTube. And basically, all of them that there was guys on there that played for Tortorella, and they basically said they love playing for Tortorella. The only people that are going to have a hard time playing for Tortorella are perimeter players that don't want to be physical at all and don't want to grind things out. That's the only those people. Those players are not going to get along well with Tortorella. And we've seen it. Declare didn't, and Declare said he loved Tortorella and he learned a lot from him, but Tortorella obviously was not a Declare guy. He was gone real quick. Frost in Philadelphia seemed to kind of bail out pretty quick. He is a perimeter player, very smart one though. Actually, I kind of had my issue with Tortorella on that one, but he is a smart player. But he goes to Calgary. He's kind of a third line, not very big perimeter guy, and Tortorella is not a really big fan of that. Those are just a couple. There might have been more. But for the most part, from what I understand, players love Tortorella. One thing I couldn't say, much like Laviolette, if there is a shelf life, it's not really his attitude. He's not angry at his players. He's honest with them, and he will get angry with players sometimes, but he's willing to take it back too. He doesn't mind going both ways. Unlike the previous coach to the Vegas Golden Knights. If there's one shelf life issue that I think it could be, and Laviolette is a lot like this too. He's got a short shelf life, as I think he may expect players to be so committed that maybe the rest of the world doesn't matter. Like he likes rats. Guys are going to be in the room all. I mean, he is obsessive about his job, and I think maybe it becomes very unbalanced for players to kind of success that he's kind of way that he thinks players should be to have success. Like if you want to win a cup, man, it's if we're going to win a cup, let's devote our lives to this. That's what he believes that should be done. And it's also, he has a style that's very physically demanding on players. He expects everybody to block shots, and he wants it to be a war every game. And I think he could actually take it back a little bit on that, for sure. And I mean, it sounds cool off with until over time the maybe you have other interests in life rather than hockey. And I think over time he just says, you know what, that he believes that that's how you win a cup. And I think Laviolette is much like that as well. Laviolette has a system though that is very demanding, much similar system, and it's very physically demanding, and it's a lot of you. And I think that might have more to do with the shelf life than, say, Cassidy's shelf life, which is just basically being an asshole. And you can never be good enough with Cassidy. I think he's kind of a perfectionist, and being almost perfect to him is the expectation. So there's not much like, yeah, you guys did great stuff. It's more like, yeah, that's where you're supposed to be. And anything less than that is just belligerent, calling you down and everything but a black. Phil Jackson demeanor, yeah. And that's, I think, gotten more so, Mark, over time too. Maybe his earlier stuff might be a little more, because he himself said he had to adjust. He himself said he had to adjust. You know, he might have been more of an a-hole earlier and more, you know, but he said in the new generation, they're not going to take a lot of that stuff himself. And he adjusted to that, which he didn't go against it. It doesn't sound like Cassidy has adjusted that. He believes in whatever he believes in, but Tortorella adjusted to it, which brings in a lot of big debate, like, you know, that old school philosophy. I've mentioned this before, where you have people saying, "Oh, they're soft now." I don't think so. I don't think there's anything wrong with being wanted to be treated with respect. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the new generation, late Gen X, early Gen Z, have realized that they don't need to take that stuff. They don't need to be angry about it, but they don't need to take it either. Like, it doesn't have to be their energy every day to be talked down to, beat down, and treated like a piece of shit. You know, they don't have to take that anymore. And I don't know if there's anything wrong with it. And there's plenty of coaches that do just great with doing it. Paul Maurice, Cooper, great coaches. Barry Trotz, he might have been like one of the guys that kind of bridged the gap between the two, because that guy was a positive motivational speaker, dude. And he believed in team unity. He used to take team in on the road. They used to do like leadership challenges and stuff like that, where they would go like climb mountain climbing and all kinds of stuff like that. And he was more building people up. And I'm sure there was guys before them that were like that, no doubt about that. But he's just the one that comes to my mind that was very much about building players up rather than beating them down. The old school mentality is you beat them down and then you lift them up. You beat them down, beat them down, beat them down. Sort of like a military idea. And it worked for a time. I just don't see it working as well anymore. I think Tortorella adjusted to that. Old school guy, and he realized that you got to have more of a balance to lifting guys. Going back to what we were just talking about with the McNabb situation, that's a great way to do it. That's building your players up by defending them and believing in them and taking a stand, so to speak. And personally, I am a fan of teams that are willing to put two fingers up and go, fuck y'all. I'm a Florida Panthers fan, man. I am. I became a Florida Panthers fan. I started inching towards it when they picked up Reinhardt from Buffalo. I was inching towards it. I already loved Barkov. There was already players on there, but I went straight in when they traded Huberdeau for Matthew Tkachuk. As soon as they did that, I'm like, yeah, I see what's going on here. Then they picked up Rodriguez, and Verhaeghe is a different type, but he works there. Marchand. These are like Tkachuk, Bennett, Marchand. These are all just like, fuck y'all. I don't care. We care about winning. That's what we care about. We don't care if you're pissed off. We actually laugh at you because you're pissed off. Teams like that. I love players like that. And Vegas has kind of got that mentality now. Like on everybody, people are saying nobody wants Vegas to beat Colorado. Well, in my pocketbook, I don't, because I got Colorado to make the finals against Carolina. Colorado. I just love these fuck you teams. I love them. I love those kind of guys. Yeah, Mark says he loves the respect that he has for players. He knows how to you have to gain respect for players and gain trust. And he uses different angles to do that. One of my favorite Tortorella was when he was in Vancouver. That room, Vancouver Canucks at that time, there was a lot of missing battle in that team, and I don't think the Sedins are part of that. By the way, I think the Sedins were battlers in their own way. They weren't the most physical guys in the world, but they didn't back down from anybody either, especially Daniel. Like, I don't think that was the case, but I think there was a lot of that in that room. And if you remember that one, he lost his mind after the game in the with the coach and their son. I don't know what all the details were, but Tortorella lost his freaking mind, and he brought fire. And I think he did that because he saw that that team needed that. He wanted to be an example of what he wanted the players to be. You need more fire in your game. You need more hate in your game. He said it before. He has mentioned that he doesn't like to do that outside of the rink. But when you get in the rink, we're here for a war. The game of hockey was meant to be to take the term from Burke, a truculent sport. It was meant for physicality, intimidation, and hate. Fun hate. That's why I like the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers players love to hate. They love that hate part of the game. Now, I think outside the rink, it's probably, it's a little different. When they're in the rink, they love to hate you. They absolutely love it. With Tortorella, that's what he believes. He believes that the game was meant that way. And the way to win is to have that in your heart. It's a spirit of hate competition, not literal, not like you want somebody dead or something like that. I'm not talking about that crap. I'm talking about this in the spirit of competition, you have hate. Some people call it hate to lose. Yeah, I mean, I suppose that you could say that, but I think you can love to win and still hate on the ice, rather than you can love to win more than you hate to lose and still hate on the ice and love it and that's why I like the Florida Panthers. That's what I get from them. It's not so much that they hate to lose, it's that they really love to win, and winning involves hating. And they're willing to do anything to win. And they'll say anything on the ice, and they'll obviously Bennett. I don't think he ever wanted to actually end a goaltender's career like that. I don't think that was the there. If he's got unity, he's gonna leg drop a goaltender. Let's face it. I'm not going to sit here and defend Bennett like he didn't mean it. No, I'm not, because he did. And there was a lot of players like that. And I don't love players. I don't think he wants to injure guys. But if you happen to get injured, this is just to them part of the game. And I think he's going to – Colorado's got I think Colorado better be prepared for some hate in that series. They better be prepared for some hate and players that are going to be playing for each other. I think Vegas has more of a chance now than I thought they did before. I think Colorado's too deep. If Makar's shoulder is okay, but I'll get into that tonight at Eastern, because we're going to talk about that. Vegas is McKenna could be the definite factor, no doubt about that. I mean, that guy's a beast. Eichel's a great player, but I think, yeah, I mean, McKinnon could definitely be the factor that can't be stopped, regardless of the team unity and everything that's going on there in Vegas. But if you're going to beat a team like Colorado, there better be team unity, and you better be backing each other up, and there better be hate in your heart, competitive hate in your heart to do it. Because if you're not, Colorado's just going to roll all over you. There's no doubt about that. So I think all of those things gave them a better chance. I'm not going to say that they are going to win. Canes are looking like the Florida-ish. I don't really know if I see. I mean, I see it in Hull. I see it. It's not the same kind of hate, I think, but it's there. And With Carolina, the big difference that this year than previous years is that they they get rest. That's a big difference. Brendan Moore's system is very demanding, and I think in previous years he's been very stubborn to not give guys a break a little bit in the regular season and stuff like that. I still think stubborn to not change that system a little bit every once in a while in the regular season. Maybe play a 1-3-1 every once in a while. Like, why do you need to kill your players every day playing that man on man? Because he wants to create machine players. He believes that you can create players that are so well conditioned and strong that they can play that system all the way through. And it just seems like he wants that marathon. He wants that challenge. And previous years, I said that system and win a cup. It's Newman. As much as he may try to make machines like that, and I still think so. But in this year, now he's got an advantage because they've got a lot more tired teams with a condensed schedule, and their physical conditioning is going to be greater than other teams, I believe. Same as Colorado, by the way. McKinnon and the demands that he puts on his players as a captain for diet and hitting the gym, and like apparently it's pretty extreme. Like he'll get pissed at players if he sees them eating sugar and stuff like that. And I think this year it's been a huge advantage for them because of that. They're just dialed physically. Same, both teams are. But this year they're getting a huge advantage. First of all, Brendan Moore actually did rest players. He rested half his lineup and played half his lineup about 12 to 15 games, or no, was it 10 games in or something like that? And he did that for a road trip, a fairly long road trip, did that when he got home. And I was like, finally getting these, holy crap. And now what do? They beat Ottawa in 4. By the way, people thinking, oh, you just like look at their competition. Ottawa would have given Montreal and Buffalo a go. I'm telling you right now. Ottawa, if they were playing one of those two teams, would have given them a go. I'm not saying they would have won, but they would have given them a go. And they dummied the shit out of them. Carolina did. And Philadelphia was the best team in the league after the All-Star break. Now, I think they might have burnt themselves out doing that, but I bet Philadelphia to sweep that. So after I saw what I saw them do to Ottawa, I'm like, that Ottawa team's not as bad as they made them look. And I don't think that Ottawa team was like trying or something. Like just made them. It was more Carolina was well above them than Ottawa not being good. So Philadelphia. Now when you got these two teams coming up in a 7-game series, and Carolina has a little bit of rust to start off with, but this team is so good that way when they have rest. You're going to see it in the first game. What they're going to do is they're going to shoot from everywhere and get their legs moving and get physical right away. When the first game they played Ottawa, even, they did that. They had more hitting than they normally do. They just hit like crazy and got themselves awake and going and stuff like that. And that's probably what you're going to see when they play Montreal or Buffalo. Either, I mean, Montreal, I'll tell you what, like, kudos to you. You're doing so good. But I don't think that either one of those teams have a chance against Buffalo. But I'll get on that. I'll get more on that when tonight at 9:30. I just wanted to come in and talk about that Tortorella stuff. Thanks for coming in, everybody. And yeah, it ticks me off when this maybe stop. Why this thing breaks up on me all the time. It should be better now. But thanks for coming in, everybody. I just wanted to do a quick show. I might be doing another one right away if I find something to talk about. Have a great day. Talk to you at 9:30 Eastern. 10:30 Eastern tonight. We'll be talking about the game tomorrow and the Colorado Vegas series. So Rico and Perlo's House of Exotic Picks Frolic. Talk to you later. Okay, bye. Thanks for